The baddest mother is the baddest mother.
One of the greatest knockouts you'll ever see.
There's some bad mothers out there. You don't want to wake them up.
Jorge Masvidal had a good last fight. So I know my man is gangster, but he ain't no West Coast gangster.
I come from a hostile place. I love hostility. I deal with it real well.
I'm not surprised, mother.
Want to see some wild animals? The circus show comes into town, Madison Square Garden. Tune in.
UFC 244 will feature a great main event between Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. Let's welcome in ESPN's UFC analyst, Chael Sonnen.
Let's hear it for me. What's up, guys?
How you doing?
For sure.
Good.
Great to see you guys.
It is so good to have your expertise on the show for this big-time event.
Thank you.
So both of the guys are strikers. What kind of fight are we going to see?
Okay, so this is a little bit tough because this is a main event. Don't forget that. That means it's got 2 extra rounds. Now, conditioning and history says those 2 extra rounds favor Nate Diaz, but nobody's ever questioned the heart and grit of Masvidal. Max, you'll appreciate this. Remember Roberto Duran?
Yes.
He used to fight. He used to lie about his age and claim he was an adult so he could go fight grown men and put food on the table. That's what Masvidal used to do. He used to lie and go in the backyard and post it to YouTube for $50. Now, I'm not bragging about this gorilla stuff, but to act like that's not tough and gritty, and now he's headlining Madison Square Garden, that's special.
I don't care what anyone says. You do that backyard stuff. That whatever you want to say about it, you have to respect the toughness of those guys. What is it about the UFC, Chael, now that, like, it used to be the strikers couldn't rise to this level because it was so much about the grappling and the ground and pound pit fighting and all that stuff. But now it seems like some of the biggest stars are strikers. Is that because they're avoiding the grapplers, or is there something in the UFC now that's lending itself to strikers rising to this level?
So, Max, I think it's just the sport of mixed martial arts. It used to be you were mixing martial arts, the karate versus the judo, something along these lines. It's now a sport. These guys that are doing it didn't go through the collegiate ranks like I did and then start to learn how to use their hands and feet. They started at 9 and 10 years old. Their fathers were bringing them to mixed martial arts gym. It's anybody's ball game now. I love the point that the strikers are doing well.
First of all, I'll be there tomorrow night. Secondly, and more importantly, Masvidal, I love this guy because of what he said on First Take a couple of days ago that he was here. He talked about what people want to see. He talked about the striking. Because let me tell you something right now. As much as you can appreciate mixed martial arts, when you go to watch a fight in the octagon and 2 guys are grappling and wrestling and stuff like that, even though I know that's one of your specialties, that is not, when people are seeing that, the mainstream, when I talk about the avid followers, the mainstream folks want to see that striking. They want to see somebody get knocked out. They want to see punches thrown more so than they want to see anything else. This fight, Masvidal seems committed to doing just that. Do you expect the same from Nate Diaz?
Yeah, I think that it's really a 2-way street. I mean, here's the problem that Nate Diaz does have, in fairness, is he's a little bit of a slow starter, Steve. He'll take your punches and kicks. He'll almost give a round or 2 away. Well, you only have so many of those rounds. That's never a really good strategy. And I do agree that the striking, even as a grappler, striking's almost dumbing it down on some of those where everybody can get it. And I don't want to have to think. I don't want to have to be sophisticated when I'm watching a sport. I want the simpler approach. Nothing wrong with that.
You know, to continue on Nate, I heard that you trained with him. So, yes. I mean, what was that process like with him? What kind of ethic does he have?
Okay, one time ever, I will go out to Stockton and train with Nate. And every gym is different. Some guys, when they're sparring, they kind of move around a little bit. And some guys will... I go to spar with Nate. Within 2 minutes, I'm now fighting Nate Diaz. And when the whole thing ends, it reminded me of that Dave Chappelle show when he played Prince, and then Prince could ball and made him pancakes.
He made you pancakes?
He took me next door and bought me fish tacos. Acted like the fight never happened.
Right.
But, you know, we talk about tough guys. And in boxing this year, there have been a spate of ring fatalities. Because in boxing, when you have an advantage, the guy gets concussed, he has 8 seconds, sometimes 10 seconds, to clear his head and then keep fighting and take a pounding. In MMA, it's different. There's no shame in tapping out, in quitting, so to speak. You know, that's okay. And yet we also have seen guys like, I think it was Renzo Gracie, his arm snapped in half and still wouldn't tap out. How much does toughness factor in, and the willingness to not succumb in this fight because it's two tough guys, how much does that factor into who's going to win the fight?
Max, I largely think that's what we're coming to find. Just who is the tougher guy? I mean, Dana White has basically said that even with the 3 letters he put on this title, but this is basically a tough guy contest. Both of these guys can take a shot. Who can give more longer than the opponent? I think that's what this is about.
Who can?
Okay, history says that it's Masvidal, and the reason history says that is Nate Diaz has been out for 3 years. He's fought 1 time in 3 years. Now he's about to fight 2 times within 3 months. History favors Masvidal, but it would also say that Nate Diaz should have beat Pettis all 15 minutes.
I'm looking at Masvidal right now, and I asked him a question the other day about Conor McGregor. And I keep asking him that because Conor McGregor has announced that he's going to come out of retirement. We know he's the biggest box office draw in UFC history. Masvidal keeps bringing up Dana White. He said, Dana White, he said, I don't want to do the man any harm. That's what he wanted to say. I don't want to do any man any harm. He doesn't want any of this sincere damage would happen to him. What do you see Conor McGregor doing? And do you ultimately see Conor McGregor going up against the winner of this fight Saturday night? I know he has already fought Nate Diaz twice.
Steven, you can say anything you want about Conor McGregor, and there's plenty of haters out there. You cannot call that man a coward. If you do that, it's just simply insincere. And
I didn't do that.
No, I know that you're not. I just figuratively. Figuratively.
Connor, if you're listening.
It wasn't me.
But the reason I offer that is this is out of his weight class. This is 170 pounds. Conor fights as high as 155 pounds. Conor McGregor will take this fight if Dana White calls him and offers him that. I will tell you, either guy. He will fight either guy if Dana wants him to.
Can I ask you real quick? Is it possible, do you think, in your experience, you've been a prize fighter, you've been in many walks of life, to make $100 million in a fight and still have the eye of the tiger? Like, to me, the difference between Conor and Masvidal right now is one guy is still hungry and mean down to the bone, and the other guy, Conor, would never question his toughness. He's as tough as they come. But has he become civilized more than Masvidal with that $100 million payday against Floyd?
Most definitely. Come on, Sugar Ray Leonard said it's very hard to get up and run 5 miles at 5 a.m. wearing silk pajamas.
That was Marvin Hagler, but yes, close.
But I think he's right.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. I tend to, when I was fighting, there's part of me I had to fight. I wanted to keep the lights on. I had to go out there and get in the ring. I couldn't imagine choosing to do that if you didn't have to. Floyd Mayweather has proved that a rich man can fight, but few others have.
All right, Chael, thank you so much for your insights on this. We'll see who gets
Everybody tells me thank you, but you really mean it. I can tell you.
I really do.
I see the sincerity.
Teach me. Tell me.
Who's better than Chael on MMA?
There we go.
No, absolutely. And I love the idea of this BMF belt, right? First and only ever, bad mofo. All right, UFC 244 at Madison Square Garden features the card of the year.
That was going to be a fight.
And the main event on pay-per-view has Jorge Masvidal taking on Nate Diaz in a battle of welterweights starting at 10 Eastern. To order the main card in English and Spanish, go to espnplus.com/PPV.